This is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another car video. Wait, hold on a second. Yeah, had to holler real quick. Anyway, right? Check it out. Really pay attention to class issues in relationships. Really pay attention to it. And reason I'm saying it, right? Because I don't think people really get it. Because I was checking out the podcast I did earlier, and I was like, I just checked a few minutes ago, I only had 2 comments. I was like, shit. But y'all got to pay attention to it, especially men. Understand something. Women, when they checking you out, yeah, they checking out your physicality. But when they checking out your style and everything, the clothing, they trying to assess where you at, your social class you in and everything. See, and it's like I talked about in the podcast, a lot of guys think they know what hypergamy is. Hypergamy is really a woman moving up from one class to the other, right? But the only women who can truly practice that is truly practice it are like real hot women, you know, potential diesels, potential sex worker types, acculturated prostitutes. Most other women stay within their class automatically, because understand the key word with relationships is relate. So, you know, they can only relate to a certain type of guy. They can only relate to them, and they usually stay within their zone. Like, women are actually way more pragmatic than dudes give them credit for, right? So they usually look to somebody they can deal with and all of that. So, you know, and shout out BGS for talking about the Octane models, because, you know, if you get an 85 Octane, well, she look for somebody who's kind of ratchet himself, because they can relate to it, right? 87 working class Octane, you know, they look for somebody who look like they'll look for a man who look like he kind of working class, you know, like he work with his hands or something. 89, they start getting a little bit better. They kind of like, they can go either way. But even then, they probably look for some guy that look like might be like a lower end semi-professional. You know, maybe somebody he ain't like degreed or anything, but, you know, he might have an office job or something. But they go either way, depending on where they were raised at. An 89 could also mess with a working class dude. And then you got the 92s, where you better tell them what school you went to. Better have that professional degree and stuff. And then you talk to 100 octanes, well, they looking for those like high earning ballers, those high earners and everything, like dudes who net worth starts at $1 million, right? And then the diesels, though, the sex workers and all that, they just need you to spend some money, so they don't really give a shit. At best, they looking at like, okay, how much money this dude got? Okay, we looking at his clothes and stuff, he don't have that much money. All right, so they're gonna leave him alone, right? They'll leave him alone. They say, nah, we'll let him let some of those like lower class hoes get to him. Those hoes who charge $50 a pop, you know, $20 in a good meal at Red Lobster or something, you know. Yeah, but that's how it is, because dudes don't get that. A lot of dudes don't get that. They think, because even when I talk about body game, that's just the base. But women they trying to get an idea about, you know, every aspect of you. You know, they look, and I'm serious, they looking at your shoes, type of clothes you wear, your haircut. Because like I said in the podcast thing, you know, your clothes and everything, that's saying how you dress, that's a indication of your social class, because social classes are like big cultures in itself. That's why I throw culture in there. It's very important. They try and get an idea where you at. Like, say, you know, like people haven't used that term hotep a lot lately, but say a woman's on some hotep stuff, well, she looking to see if you got an onk, how you wearing your hair, something that might say, you know, get some indication, you know, you wearing a t-shirt that talk about melanin rich or something like that. They looking for those clues. And that's just the nature of women. See, one thing guys got to understand, Yes, they care about the physicality just like we do, but they add shit, emotion. And as they move up in social class, they be adding stuff in there. So they looking at all of that stuff. And even if the woman she could be making $500,000, but she's still looking for somebody on her similar class. Because one thing about women to understand, if you really pay attention to them, a big part of their thing is the relating, the communication. You know? They want to know, okay, can they talk to this guy? Can they have that conversation? You know, are they can they relate? And they'll look for that. That's why you get a lot of women, they actually complain. In fact, you get some women, you know, they get that degree and stuff, and all of a sudden there's a shortage of men for them, even though you'll say, well, there's plenty of blue-collar guys. They don't want to mess with them. Now, or you get those young girls, you get a lot of these sororities on these big campuses, particularly white sororities, predominantly white sororities. Those are a bunch of women, they just joining for that MRS degree. Because if you look at who they mess with, the guys, parties they go to, they just looking for a husband on a certain level. Now, the only exception to that class culture and everything is an extremely handsome built alpha showpiece dude. And that's when you tip into the shadow world. And even then, depending on the situation, one of the key things with the guy is not so much how he look or build or the sex appeal he gives off, but how quiet he can keep. You know, because you do get a lot of women who make a lot of money. They make a corporate women and all of that. Now, if they get married, dude got to be a certain class. If they just want to, they just want to holler in the bedroom or something, well, dude got to be fine and quiet. It is what it is. But that same dude, if he saw him out in public or when she around like her work associates or in her social milieu, and he try to say something, she act like she don't know him. She'll be like, have I met you before? And I'm quite sure, well, a few guys have experienced that. Because just real quick about the shadow world, it ain't even so much about a woman cheating. Some dudes think that's all it is, but of course it's somebody who ain't been there. But the shadow world is just where they can be free. The woman could be single otherwise and still dip into the shadow world. Women don't always want to be seen with the guy they fuck. But that's another conversation. But they always checking. They checking. They trying to get a read on you or something. And then, like, they doing that as they approach. In fact, Cousin T-Tall, he touched on that in his book, The Seduction Scriptures. You know, you're approaching that woman, she doing a read on you. She trying to figure out your class. Well, first thing she's looking at is your frame, your physical frame. That's the first thing. Like, can you get it or not? But then, if that don't pass the muster, or if it's just like decent, she looking at everything else. What kind of car you got out of, what kind of watch you wearing, what kind of shoes you wearing, everything. They always looking at that. What's your haircut? They trying to get an idea. All right, where he at? Oh, okay. This may be somebody I can deal with. And I mean, that's just how it is. Because understand something, and I've said this several times. But just from seeing what a lot of guys talk about, I don't think they get it. I'm like, dude, they look at every little thing. In fact, I got a podcast coming Saturday that kind of dip into that, Because just real quick, I always do my podcast like early. So I got a podcast that's coming this Saturday about how women rate men. So, mark your calendar for that. So, but anyway, really understand that. And, if you having trouble dealing with certain women, if you having trouble, look at your social class, first of all, what you giving off, and also what class you at. Because, people be talking about that whole Pookie and Ray Ray thing, which I always said it was whack. The reason I say it's whack, the women gonna mess with some dudes like that, usually from that environment, and that's what they used to, and that's cool. But only way you gonna get a professional woman, a higher class woman who deals with that, who even wants that type of guy, Either regardless of how fine he is. The only way she gonna really want him is if that's really where she came from. Because that imprint thing ain't no joke. So if a woman came from that thing, she'll mess with him as long as he be quiet. As long as he willing to be quiet. But if he that type want to talk, she ain't even gonna mess with him. And actually, her ideal would be someone, a male who's come from that environment too. Because I've met plenty of those women. They say, "Oh shoot, you smart, Ron, but you got some hood in you." It is what it is. But anyway, right? Really pay attention to that class thing. I mean, you can't really have an intelligent conversation about women, what they choose, without start adding stuff in. Class, culture, religion. I saw my buddy, I've mentioned her a couple times on here. She's like ultra religious and stuff. She won't give a guy any play unless he's talking about his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. It's like, if you don't approach it with that, just give up the conversation. And even then, it depends on which denomination. Even then. So it's like, if you ain't saying that, because I always mess with her. I always say, "Hey, how's your boyfriend?" I always say Rashad or a Muslim name or something. She'd be like, "Ray, curse me out." That's how deep it is. But seriously, when women looking, yeah, they looking at the physicality, but they trying to assess your class level, income. Even if they don't want, here's the deep thing. Even if they, well, why the fuck didn't you move up, motherfucker? Even if they don't want your money, they still want to know y'all can live the same lifestyle. And most women don't want to carry a man. Most. Even the ones that do wish the motherfucker get a job. So anyway, right? Damn! Yeah, I'm looking at this person. They should have been at the stoplight, so they could get that turn going. Anyway, right? That's all I got. That's all I got for today, y'all. Get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.